paper plan is meaningless if cabins themselves are sited in or near flood zones. House Bill 75 closes that gap by requiring youth camps to follow flood-aware building standards, keeping sleeping quarters out of high-risk areas, and adapt their site layout to ensure safe evacuation routes are always available. This legislation protects families who entrust their children's safety to us. It ensures that camps cannot look compliant on paper while still placing kids in buildings destined to flood. I'm ready to answer questions.
Thank you. Representative, members or questions of Mr. McLaughlin at this time? Seeing none, you have one witness. We'll call you back shortly. Chair calls Cyrus Reed. Record shows you're Cyrus Reed. You're testifying on behalf of the Lone Star Chapter of Sierra Club, and you're for the bill. Is that correct?
Very much so. Establishing minimum building standards for youth camps to minimize and prevent flooding of a camp's building and other physical facilities is a really good idea. We support HB 75 because it should lead to better, more flood-resistant buildings in campgrounds near flood areas. We would note that one of the major recommendations of the 2024 State Flood Plan was to raise codes and standards. There were 4 main recommendations suggested by regional flooding planning groups. One was adopt minimum statewide design standards to reduce flood-related damage and loss of life, and another was update consistent statewide building codes and qualify Texas for maximum federal building resilient infrastructure and communities funding. So while we support the bill, honestly, we should be doing this all over in flood-prone areas, requiring more modern building codes. More modern building codes make a reference to the American Society of Civil Engineers 2024 standard, which requires things like you have to build the building above the base elevation. It's in my written testimony. I can't remember the acronym, but basically the base elevation of the flood. You have to have flood-resistant materials in that bottom floor, and you have to have an ingress and egress, and you got to get the utilities out of the flood zone. You don't want that electrical or other equipment in the flood zone. So in our minds, this is a great first step, and we support the bill. And looking forward, we hope this committee in general will look at the issue of building codes, county authority, what we allow in floodplains and what we don't. So very much support the bill, and I have written testimony which I submitted to your staff, which hopefully can be shared with the group. And I did send one to your office as well. And thank you for the bill. It's a great bill.
Thank you. Members or questions, Mr. Reed? Seeing none. Thank you, Cyrus.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else wish to testify on, for, or against House Bill 75? Seeing none. Chair recognizes Representative McLaughlin to close.
Members, thank you for your time and consideration of House Bill 75. I respectfully ask that the bill be reported for later out of committee, and I close.
Thank you. Members of questions, Mr. McLaughlin? Mr. Verdell.
Representative McLaughlin, it's good to see you. I did just want to make a quick point here on the, this is actually not against your bill or anything like that, but the point, because I keep seeing this brought up, is the 100-year floodplain being talked about. My understanding from the maps that I've seen from a floodplain engineer, like for the camps located on the Guadalupe River, is that none of those buildings were actually within the 100-year floodplain, and that this probably would have more effect in East Texas, where 20% of Texas land is in a floodplain right now, and so I think this probably does have a good effect on East Texas. I just kind of wanted to point out that, like, if you look at the Guadalupe River, I don't think those camps, this would end up applying to those camps. So just wanted to point that out. But
sure. Well, I mean, I grew up on Four Rivers in Uvalde. I've seen the I guess it may date my age a little bit, and Drew, you'll probably laugh at this, but I've seen 2 500-year floods on the Frio and one on the Nueces.
yeah.
And, the thing is, with these camps and different things, I went to a lot of church camps and youth camps when I was young, and most all those camps had their cabins set far back from the river, and you walk down to the river. But as we've developed and people go and they want the newer, better facility, they built more down toward the river, more on the river, and so forth, where when we were kids and grew up at those camps, they were always set back a good ways from the river.
Yeah.
So this would hopefully start that again.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Side note, I did get kicked out of a church camp back in the day. So,
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes,
You
sir.
cannot close yet. You had another witness slip in
Okay.
before we got you out of here.
Okay.
So hold tight.
Yes, sir.
Chair calls Kenneth Flippin. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against this wonderful piece of legislation? I see none. If you do want to testify, please register. All right, Chair, record shows that you're Kenneth Flippin. You're testifying on behalf of Texas chapter of U.S. Green Building Council and yourself, and you are for the bill. Is that correct?
That's correct. We
Please
just
proceed.
want to say that similar to other bills that we'll testify in support of, this is just common sense regulation. We think that it's going to help save lives in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that testimony. Members, are questions, Mr. Flippin? Mr. Burdell? No. Oh, okay. No, we're going to bring him back because we're done with witnesses.
Thank you.
Okay. One more time. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against House Bill 75? I see none. Hearing none, the chair recognizes Representative McLaughlin to close. Mr. Burdell.
Thank you, Chairman King. I just want to point out, I did notice the very last part of the paragraph says, or within 5 feet of the 100-year floodplain, which actually would affect some of the camps. So sorry about that.
No problem.
Didn't realize that till after I said that. Thanks.
Mr. McLaughlin, do you close?
I close.
We'll see you later.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here. The committee substitute is withdrawn. If there's no objection, House Bill 75 be left pending. Is there objection? Chair hears none. House Bill 75 is left pending. Chair lays out House Bill 71. Recognizes Representative Gervin Hawkins to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members, for allowing me to lay out this bill. I want to start, though, by establishing a framework of why this bill is so important and need to be voted out immediately, if possible. So, other measures associated with this issue focuses on general health, safety, compliance, inspection, staff training, and licenses. This bill is different because it creates a new statutory framework for youth camping and activity safety under TEDM. It requires camps and youth activity entities to submit site-based emergency preparedness plans to TEDM. So they'd have a plan up front when they decide to have a event. They coordinate with local EMS and sheriffs and maintain real-time communication and access for first responders, which allows activity to happen and hopefully survival things right away. By placing responsibility with TEDM, the state's Emergency Management Division, House Bill 71 ensures emergency readiness is proactive, operational, and enforceable. So what House Bill 71 requires, as a condition of licensure, a youth camp must provide documentation showing it has submitted an emergency preparedness plan to TEDM. This ensures the licensure is tied to actual preparedness, not paperwork alone. HB 71 establishes a statutory framework for youth camping and activity safety. It defines the covered entities, including camp, especially encompassing day camp and camps licensed under Chapter 141, Youth Activity Entity, and high-risk activity. And it confirms that division means the Texas Division of Emergency Management. These definitions make clear the bill's broad scope and align responsibilities with the state's emergency management expertise. The bill was filed in direct response to the tragic Hill Country flooding on July 4th, which showed us the urgent need for stronger youth camp safety, high-risk activity oversight, and emergency preparedness standards. The bill directs TEDM in consultation with the Department of State Health Services, the Texas Commission on Fire Protection, and any other relevant state agency to adopt emergency preparedness standards and coordination protocols. The bill also specifies the DSHS, at TEDM's request, must provide consultation to support this rulemaking process. Those standards require operators to submit a plan to TEDM, post information about the plan on site, coordinate with local EMS, the sheriff, and TEDM's regional staff, certify real-time communication capabilities, such as radios or cellular systems, so we know that they're working and actively in use, and maintain clearly marked emergency access routes for first responders so that they don't have to look around. The plan itself must identify location, specific risk activity based on hazards, evacuation procedures, staff responsibilities, and on-site readiness checklists. TDM is required to review each plan and, upon request, provide feedback or technical support. For every camp session or youth program period, the operations must coordinate with and give notice to TDM's regional staff, the local EMS provider, and the local sheriff to make sure everybody knows how many kids are there, who's in charge, all of that. The notice must include the location, the dates, minors will be present, head counts, a live contact, and designated emergency access points. The notice window is set at no fewer than 14 days and no more than 30 days before the program begins, with TDM authorized to adjust the timing based on the group size, risk profile, remoteness, or relevant factors. These provisions ensure that first responders have actionable information with enough lead time to pre-plan response and protect children effectively. The bill requires TDM to create an emergency readiness toolkit and post it publicly, providing operators with practical guidance to meet the standards efficiently and consistently statewide. To guarantee accountability, the bill authorizes the Attorney General to bring an action to impose a civil penalty of up to $1,000 for each violation. Each day a violation continues is treated as a separate violation, and the Attorney General may also recover court costs, reasonable attorney fees, investigative costs, witness fees, and deposition costs. This enforcement structure balances deterrence with due process and ensures there are real consequences for ignoring life safety requirements, while also incentivizing prompt correction of violations. There's been no physical note calculated with this. We believe that indeed the affected entities is part of already their scope of work and can be absorbed through what they do every day as part of. But I think we all know having that plan up front really gives everybody that preparedness that they need in case something happens. With that, I'm willing to answer any questions.
Members, any questions? I think you will reserve your right to close, Representative.
Appreciate it. Thank
At
you.
this time, Chair calls up Mario Cantu, Tyler Robertson, and Mr. Kenneth Flippin. Please state your name, who you represent, and your position on the bill for the record.
I'm Tyler Robertson. I represent CAMP, Camping Association for Mutual Progress, and Camp Longhorn, and I am neutral on the bill.
Kenneth Flippin, Texas chapter of the U.S. Green Building Council. We are for this bill. I want to just say a couple comments about it. I really like the aspect of this bill that we would give some notifications.
Mr. Flippin, hold on. Let me just have Mr.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, Cantu, go ahead and.
Yes, sir.
Identify.
Name's Mario Cantu. Paramedic. I do critical care team.
Hold on real quick. Your position on the bill, Mr. Cantu?
I'm for.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and start with, yes, sir, Mr. Robertson.
Good morning, members. My name is Tyler Robertson, and I'm here on behalf of the Camping Association for Mutual Progress on House Bill 71. I also serve as the director for Camp Longhorn C3. Representative Gervin Hawkins, it's good to see you here again. And thank you again for speaking at our annual conference last year. You were certainly the highlight of that evening. We have members still talking about your speech. We support the overall goals and many provisions of House Bill 71, and we welcome partnering with the Texas Division of Emergency Management for the expert guidance when crafting our emergency plans. Chapter 141 youth camps are licensed under the Department of State Health Services, so we just ask that there is appropriate coordination between the two agencies when a youth camp submits the plans to ensure there is no confusion. We look forward to continuing to work with you to develop policies to safeguard every child who attends camps in Texas. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Mr. Flippin?
Thank you. Kenneth Flippin, Texas chapter of U.S. Green Building Council. We're definitely for this bill. Couple of provisions that we think are very valuable. Not only thinking about these, kids being on the river, and the river gets high, and we need the ability to rescue them quickly. I think this would help with that. But I'm also thinking about fire, especially being from West Texas and knowing that some of these camps are in places where if we needed to have people rescued quickly, having the emergency folks aware that these things are happening would be very valuable. And so for all these reasons, I see it as valuable. I also see it as a larger model that we could consider for more adult camps as well as we maybe move into the next legislative session. Thank you.
Mr. Cantu?
Thank you. Mario Cantu. I'm currently a critical care paramedic, pediatrics. I've also worked in level 1 trauma center for about 7 years, assigned to trauma. So I know a lot about children and what parents witnessed at these events and how the kids behaved at these events and things that took place. The reason I'm supporting HB 71 is because of the framework. It has a really good foundation. It provides protocols. It also gives coordination standards, which are very important. I asked for camps to be notified as well and kind of have some interaction would be really good. Also, I would also ask to look at HB 215 because we always have in emergency management, we have the preparedness part, and then we have the alert part, and then we have after the fact. And this is the framework and foundation, which is the preparedness, and then we have the alert, and then we have after the fact is when we come in and there's rescue operations. So please take a look at HB 215 for nighttime signaling. I think these two things can really mesh really well. It provides the toolbox that the kids will need for nighttime signaling and also for rescue operations.
Mr. Gunther, real quick, just to make sure that we stay on this bill.
Yes, sir.
Because we don't want to
Yes, sir.
cause any issues. Thank you. So this is,
That's it for me. Thank you.
thank you. Members, any questions for our witnesses? Hearing none. Chair calls up, is there anyone else wishing to testify on, for, or against House Bill 71? Chair hearing none, calls up Representative Irvin Hawkins to close.